What up, guys, and welcome to episode 2 of Ask Cymatics. I'm pretty pumped to be doing the second episode of this. I actually labeled it on my little lav mic recording. I said Ask Cymatics episode 002 because I plan on having 1,000 of these episodes. So I'm pretty pumped about this. Had a pretty good weekend, thinking about a lot of interesting things we have coming up. We're actually launching today a Trap City remix contest, so I'm super excited to be working with Gabriel and his team because, I mean, Trap City is one of the biggest YouTube channels in the world. They just got their 10 million plaque. And I'm excited about that contest because the winner, well, first off, we're releasing a free pack with it. But the winner of that contest is actually going to be getting an upload. So it's like a huge opportunity. It's going to be free for anybody to enter. So I'm pumped up about that. We have a big project coming up with a producer that's really big that we haven't announced yet. I'm doing a lot of influencer stuff. So I'm just pumped up for this episode. It's another thing we have going on. But yeah, guys, let's get right into it.
I Am the Cream wants to know, how much time will it take for a person with no music background to become a pro in music production?
All right, Kareem. So the first thing is that don't worry about how long it's going to take to become successful in the music industry. First, just fall in love with the process, okay? Because some people get too antsy. They want a specific number. If I do this for 1 year, 3 years, I'm going to have X result. You know, that's what colleges and schools pay for, right? Or that's what they sell. They say, hey, you come here for 4 years, you're going to get X, Y, Z result. When in reality, especially with the things work on the internet today and the way success works, honestly, every single day that you work towards your career, you're just adding on like a 0.01 chance of success. And over time, you'll start to build up stuff that'll lead to greater and greater things. Yeah, so if you have no music background at all, first thing I would do is start paying attention to the industry, right? Start studying the music industry, start seeing the different music projects you like and you don't like, start seeing the stuff that you kind of want to aspire to be like. Focus on your production skills. So your production skills, like the framework of everything, you're going to have to get really, really good if you want to be a producer. If you want to be a manager or something else, you know, you can go a different path. But you're going to spend 2 to 3 years just grinding and hustling actually in the studio, getting your production skills better. And the thing I would recommend is that I would say that you should go and one of those artists that you really think is awesome, go try to work for them for free. Like literally hit them up or work minimum wage or something like that. Do that for a couple years. So that way you can see the inside of what something looks like. Everybody's rushing to be that 20 or 23-year-old like famous producer. Like try to be that guy who's famous when he's like 29, 30. Okay, try to put in the work early on and try to work for people for free. It's one of the best things you can possibly do. And I would suggest to do that so that way you can kind of get, honestly, like you get to stand on the shoulders of giants. You can see how they do touring, how they sell merch, how they do marketing. You can maybe even learn some production tips from somebody else. One of the best things you can do is work for somebody else. So I can't give you a specific time, but you know, one of the most optimal things is to be patient and go find somebody else to work for.
Walker wants to know, how do you balance work and life as a music producer?
All right, so the work-life balance as a music producer starts with your end goal. Okay, for some people, it makes way more sense for music production to be a hobby. You know, even me and Drew have fallen into that category, okay? Because with running Cymatics, it's a lot more than just producing music. You know, for us, you know, we're managing the production team. We're managing, you know, graphics, videos. We're trying to do content like this. We're talking to managers, working, you know, collaboration deals with other artists and brands, right? So for us, it actually makes more sense to like, okay, you know, after work, you know, we'll produce a little bit and then usually pump out some content. And so I would start with your end goal. Okay, so for me, I'm not trying to be a touring producer. I'm trying to run a really big production brand and a really big brand in the music space. Okay, so my work-life balance is a little bit different than you. If you're trying to be a touring producer and you're trying to be, you know, one of the best producers out there and build a brand around it, and that's what you want to do, and you know you don't want to do something else, you want to do that as a career, what I would suggest is take as much, like literally take your lifestyle and take it to as simple as possible. So like literally don't try and get an apartment or anything like that. Don't try to get a house. Like literally live with your parents if it's possible. Mooch off them. Like one thing I did, I asked my aunts and uncles like if they could like support me so I didn't have to work a regular job. And a lot of my family members thought I was crazy, but a couple people, you know, were sold on the hard work that I was putting in. So like literally go try to sell your aunt, uncle, cousin, or whoever it is that might have a little extra capital that will support you during this period. Try to not work any sort of job and just do the one thing, which is music production. And if you put in enough hours, the thing is that it's not going to guarantee your success, but I guarantee you'll out hustle. Like if you're working 12 hours a day, you'll crush everybody else, right? Who's in that bracket, and it'll give you the best chances for success. So when I'm going to say work-life balance is that, you know, it's different for everybody, but I would start with your end goal. If you're trying to make it as a producer and you're really trying to go to that next level, that's going to mean you have to give up partying, give up regular hanging out with friends, video games, even some family time, and even trying to, not work that job or not go to class or do all that kind of stuff to just work on production. Okay. If you're somebody who just loves it as a passion, maybe you have a great job, then, obviously your work-life balance would be different.
Robert asks, how did you deal with any negativity from friends and family when you started Cymatics?
All right, so everybody gets negativity when it comes to starting any sort of venture, whether it was starting Cymatics or even starting our music project with me and Drew. Of course, there's a lot of naysayers and people who just, don't believe in you. But honestly, I use that as my fuel. I get pumped up when people tell me that I can't do something or something's not possible, because proving them right is honestly one of the best things ever. So for me, it motivated me. People telling me oh, what you're doing is stupid, literally got me excited. Okay. And I can't even tell you how pumped I was when I dropped out of school. I dropped out of school. I failed all my classes on purpose, just so I literally got kicked out and I couldn't go back. And so my parents couldn't tell me to go back or anything like that. And literally everybody said I was crazy. They were like, what you're doing is crazy, blah, blah. Drew dropped out of school too. And I was like, okay, we'll see. And I literally kept working hard. And now people are like, oh, that was a smart move. And I'm like, of course. But honestly, all those naysayers, everybody saying that, what I was doing was crazy, actually fuels me. I have a triathlon sprint coming up. I've never done anything like that in my life or trained or whatever. Everybody who thinks I'm crazy for signing up for this thing that's in 23 days, which is a little bit crazy, but everybody says I'm crazy. I get fired up by it. Okay. So I'm going to say everybody's different on this, but for me, I get fired up when people tell me that, that people try to bring negativity. It fuels me. I almost invite it.
Constantine wants to know how to avoid procrastination in the writing process and what helps you to find fresh ideas for the track when you're feeling stuck.
Procrastination, it haunts everybody. Me, Drew, the most successful people ever, people on our team, family members, all throughout school. I'm one of the biggest procrastinators there is, but one thing that's really helped me is understanding how to manage it. And don't be afraid of pressure when it comes to getting past procrastination. So people procrastinate when there's not enough actual pressure or a deadline or something. A lot of times, think about school projects. If you had a school project growing up and they gave you until a certain day, let's say just November 30th, you would take until November 28th to start it and November 29th to finish it, and maybe even that morning to actually turn it in. And I see that same thing even with work projects. If we have a deadline on a certain sample pack or something coming up, I swear the thing always gets done right before that deadline. And the reason is just the way human nature works. There's actually a law for it. I don't know, maybe you can look it up, Sam. There's a certain nature, the law of nature thing, that where I forget what it is, but essentially it states that humans will take as much time given to them. So one thing I would say is put pressure on yourself with deadlines, okay? One thing I like is remix contests. The reason I like remix contests for newer producers is because it's the thing that actually takes you, it puts you on a certain deadline, it gives you something to work hard towards. You're competing against a lot of other people. It makes you get good at marketing. You have to go out there and get votes on your remix contest to help get it exposure. And you actually have this entire project based around this deadline. So what I would suggest is try to give yourself pressure with deadlines in certain campaigns and try to map out things, okay? So as a music producer, say, hey, I'm going to release in 2 weeks no matter what. Start telling people publicly on your social media account, okay? One thing for me is sometimes I'm not even done with a certain pack or let's say a certain course or something that I'm doing. I'll just start announcing it and start talking about it, because then everybody gets excited on social media, and then guess what? I got to fucking do it, okay? Put deadlines on yourself, put pressure on yourself, and lean into that pressure. Don't avoid it. Man, dude, fucking Coffee Stevens on fire.
Temporal motivation theory.
Is that what it's called?
I think so.
Temporal motivation theory. Is that it for sure? What does it say?
It says, temporal motivation theory, the best theory yet to explain procrastination.
Temporal motivation theory. Look that shit up. I don't even know if that's the exact thing, but there's probably more things like it. I'm sure that play a role.
Stein here wants to know, how do you earn money as a music producer?
All right, so if you want to make money as a music producer, you have to think about it like a business, okay? Sometimes that means stepping away from being, so artsy about everything, okay? It's one of the biggest mistakes. Me and Drew used to be that person who were extremely artsy artists, okay? Very picky about what we release, very picky about each graphic that goes out, very picky about our opportunities. And let me tell you a quick little story. One time, there was a A&R from Warner who wanted us to literally make beats for certain artists, right? It was a really, really famous artist. I won't use any names. And they reached out because he actually really liked our stuff. Fast forward, me and Drew decided not to do the opportunity because we were too good for it. Okay, we're like, we're not going to make beats for this certain artist and not get our name on it and try to do this like background producer thing. And it was one of the stupidest, most cocky mistakes ever because we had a certain vision in our head. We had a vision for what type of producer we were. And we were like, okay, we're going to be this artist that's like Flume who releases our own music. When in reality, I should have been tasting as many different types of production work in the space as possible. You know, looking back, I would have done as much free work as possible for that person just to learn and get in and provide value. Okay, it was actually a big mistake, but honestly, I'm glad it happened so early on because me and Drew still talk about how, you know, stupid we were back in the day. So if you want to make money as a producer, first think about like a business. Try to find as many ways to do free work as possible. The funny thing is, the more free work you do, the more paid work comes from that. Okay, so hit up learn how to do drum design, hit up sample pack companies. Learn how to do sound design, hit up sound design companies. Go try to get some like maybe ghost production work. Maybe as a producer, it's better to start, get your foot in the door, maybe helping with social media or maybe help as a blogger at a big blog and then get introduced to more people. Start thinking about everything that really makes up the industry. Everything from booking, everything from shows, everything to selling merch, everything from website design to all this different stuff. Crawl into industry from every single different angle. And then what you can do is you can kind of leapfrog in the type of position you want long-term, okay? It's the same thing within a company. Sometimes people enter organizations at the bottom level doing something they don't necessarily want to do, but they know if they grind it out, they'll make it to the position that they want, okay? You can do the same thing in the industry. There's nothing wrong with you hitting up 10 different EDM blogs, you know, writing some free articles and then using that to pivot into doing an interview with different managers for that blog, and then all of a sudden using that to build relationships with these managers to then all of a sudden get some work as a producer or get in with those people, right? That's a very odd way to go about it. But if you look at me and Drew, we've done something that almost nobody else has done in the music industry. We built a brand off being guys who are releasing sample packs and preset packs, and we're pivoting into a podcast, software, plugins, shows, working with artists, like every remix contest, everything we can, okay? Because we're coming at it from all the angles that other people are not. Cool. Yo, guys, if you're enjoying this show, I appreciate everybody watching this live. Drop a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. And if you guys have a question, one of the best ways to ask is after this, I'm gonna put up on my story. I usually just do like a little questionnaire thing, or you can actually just shoot me a DM with your question, and we're featuring different people on this. So. Cool. Yo, guys, ask a question. We're going to do the last question from Instagram. I think it'd be cool to involve you guys. Yeah, just do one last question here. And the question is from Paul. And Paul, you got a long name, so I'm just going to say from Paul, but we'll have you in the episode. I screenshot it to make sure we get that. How do you set up a good ad campaign for a release? So when it comes to ads, one thing I would suggest is, as a music producer, is that, you know, it's not going to be easy to spend all your money just on these random things. It's like, go check out this song, because there's a lot of friction, okay? So I've spent over $800,000 on Facebook and Instagram ads, and I'm going to tell you right now, when you try to move people, migrate people, there's always friction and people don't leave. If I were to tell everybody in the Instagram live right now to go to my Facebook Inner Circle group, guess what? It'll probably only be 1 to 5% of the people from here will go, because there's friction. People don't want to leave their app. Some people don't have the app. And when you run ads, what a lot of producers do, they think the answer is to run an ad and say, go to Spotify, and they have to click out of Instagram. They might not even be in a music listening mode, but they have to click out of Instagram and go over there. So one thing I would combine, and this is organic and paid, if you're trying to complement a release, me and Drew are going to drop a lo-fi album. Okay, we're dropping a lo-fi album, and with that lo-fi album, we're going to be dropping the sample pack. We have a really sick paid bundle coming up, and we have a free pack going with it. And one of the things we're doing is that we're going to put anywhere from 6 to 10 songs in it, and every single song will have literally an Instagram video going with it, a 60-second piece, and we're going to be sharing content pieces around those songs to bring awareness nonstop. Okay, so one thing I would suggest is create content around each song. Show how you made it. You know, do something really cool and entertaining for social media. Try something viral. Do as much content around the song creation process itself, so then when people go listen to that song, they think in their head there's something else attached to it. There's like, oh, that's that cool song where he sampled the car. That's that cool song where he got that girl off Instagram to sing on top of it. That's that cool song where he did that sound design trick, right? Show a little more of the process and the craftsmanship behind it. And then with that amazing organic content, you can then also call to action at the end to go either follow and go check out the album, go check out the release, and run. You can run, like, let's say $20 a day as an experiment or something like that. You can promote that organic content to people, so that way it's something that people like and enjoy on social media. Right there, they're scrolling through their newsfeed. They don't have to click out and have all that friction. They can have a great experience there. So if you want a good ad campaign, create amazing content and then back it up a little bit with ad money. That's going to be your best bet. And that is episode 2 of Ask Cymatics. I think we should end it off with a question. I think a question would be fire. Yo, guys, so what is going to be your question for Ask Cymatics? If you want to get featured, drop it below, whether you're watching this on IGTV, YouTube, Facebook, or even watching it live right now. Go ahead and drop a question, and we will try to get you featured in the next episode. And only because you don't get featured on the next episode doesn't mean you should stop. If you do things like send in video questions or anything like that, I think it'd be really sick. But yeah, guys, you can find me at Steven Cymatics on Instagram. So send me anything cool you have. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. There is more to come. Peace.